Rifle Association's convention in Atlanta last month, the first president to speak there since Reagan. He said self-defense is essential to public safety, but not everybody agrees with that. Like this journalism professor, George Kennedy from the University of Missouri, who claims the NRA is more dangerous than ISIS. Yes, you heard me correctly. His argument is this, quote, "What makes ISIS so feared is its willingness to kill in pursuit of its goal of creating a fundamentalist caliphate. What makes the NRA so feared is its willingness to spend heavily and campaign aggressively in pursuit of its goal of removing all restrictions on the possession and use of firearms in our country. The NRA is a lot closer to meeting its goal." Joining me for a fair and balanced debate, host of Noir on NRAnews.com, Colion Noir, and president of the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence, Dan Gross. So if the NRA is more dangerous than ISIS, shouldn't the President of the United States declare war on the NRA?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think it's not a fair comparison to say the NRA is more dangerous than ISIS. I'm not here as a spokesperson for Professor Kennedy. I'm here as a spokesperson on behalf of the American public that wants to be safer. Listen,
but don't you think it's incredibly irresponsible for a professor to say this and pump this ridiculous and inaccurate hate into the minds of students? Colion, when you hear a professor say something like this, I mean, it just shows how above and beyond these people have gotten when it comes to basic constitutional rights.
For me, I have to ask the question, like, what's the motivation? When you have a professor who's willing to equate a civil rights organization that's in place essentially to protect Americans' constitutional rights to a group or terror group who's known for beheadings on YouTube, I have to ask, who are we allowing to teach the future minds of our country?
Yeah, I mean, this professor is an absolute moron, pardon my French there, and he shouldn't be teaching because it's inflammatory and it's ridiculous. You know, when you hear these things, and, you know, I know you're a, gun safety guy, you would have to agree that people like this do not do your side any service. And when you think about it, the NRA has probably saved more lives in its existence than it's taken lives.
We all want to be safe. It's what the overwhelming majority of Americans want. It's what the overwhelming majority of decent NRA members and gun owners want.
And don't guns keep people safe?
This is what undermines the whole conversation, is name calling. So let's move past the name calling. Let's talk about the real things that we can do to keep guns out of the hands of the people we all agree shouldn't have them.
Well, Colion, when you hear something like this, because I think they have very strict gun control laws in places like Paris, where ISIS has been slaughtering innocent civilians for the last several years, what do you make about that argument, the recruitment argument?
See, here's the thing. When we talk about the gun debate, one of the biggest issues we have as gun rights advocates is that we don't have the gun debate responsibly because the context in which it's framed in are usually hyperbolic and essentially misleading.
When good guys have access to firearms, that's a good thing. When bad guys have access to firearms, that's a bad thing. And when you have a terrorist out there shooting up a mall, wouldn't it be a better thing if good guys had access to guns so they could take them out before they do more harm?
I have absolutely no problem with law-abiding, responsible citizens owning firearms. And I will not let this debate be characterized as a debate between people who want to take guns away and people who are against people having guns. The safety of the decent Americans out there watching the show who just want to be safe, they want their families and their children to be safe, is what's at stake. And we can't make this a political debate.
I think we can all agree that ISIS is more dangerous than the NRA.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you very much. Still to come, remember when Democrats wanted FBI Director Comey fired for investigating Hillary Clinton?
I do believe he is a good person. Maybe he's not in the right job.
Well, they don't remember. Liberal hypocrisy of the week coming up. Then Straight Talk with legendary coach Bobby Knight.